There's nothing to help. Watch me one by one. Oh my God.
Hello, darling. Hello. Tired, darling? Yes, I'm thoroughly exhausted. I'll get it. Sit down. I think it's a shame that when someone's been a policeman as long as you have, he still has to walk around all day long. Darling, if you're too tired to eat out tonight as we had planned, I can fix you something. There's plenty of stuff in the freezer. Anyway, I'll get you some bread and cheese. I don't want it. But you have to have supper. I can easily fix you something. I'd like to do it. We can have lamb, anything you want. Everything's in the freezer. Forget it. But darling, you have to eat. I'll do it anyway. Then you can have it or not, if you like. Sit down, just for a minute. Okay. Go on, sit down. Listen, I've got something to tell you. What is it, darling? What's the matter? This is going to be a big shock to you, I'm afraid. But I've thought about it a good deal, and I've decided that the only thing to do is to tell you immediately. Then he told me. It didn't take long. 4 or 5 minutes at most. I sat still watching him, with puzzled horror. So, there it is. I know it's a tough time to be telling you this, but there simply wasn't any other way. Of course, I'll give you money and see that you're taken care of, but there really shouldn't be any problem. I hope not, in any case. It wouldn't be very good for my job. I'll fix some supper. As I walked into the next room, I did everything without thinking. My thirst instinct was not to believe any of it. I thought that perhaps I had imagined the whole thing. If I acted if I hadn't heard him, I would find out that none of it had ever happened. I couldn't feel my feet touching the floor. I couldn't feel anything except a slight sickness. Right then, we'll have lamb for supper. I've already told you, don't make supper for me. I'm going out. Right. So I've killed him. It was extraordinary now, how clear my mind became all of a sudden. I began thinking very fast. As a wife of a detective, I knew what the punishment would be. It made no difference to me. In fact, it would be a relief. On the other hand, what about the baby? What about the laws about murderers of unborn children? Did they kill them both, mother and child? Did they wait until the baby was born? What did they do? I'm not prepared to take a chance. Hello, Sam. I want some potatoes, Sam. Yes, and perhaps a can of beans. Hello, Sam. Sam. That sounds rather peculiar. Hello, Sam. Better. Hello, Sam.
Good evening, Mrs. Mary Maloney. How are you?
I want some potatoes, please, Sam. Yes, and perhaps a can of beans, too. Patrick's decided he's tired and he doesn't want to eat out tonight. We usually go out on Thursdays, you know, and now I don't have any vegetables in the house.
How about some meat, Mrs. Maloney?
No, I've got meat, thanks. I've got a nice leg of lamb from the freezer.
Do you want these potatoes, Mrs. Maloney?
Oh, yes, they'll be fine. 2 pounds, please.
Perfect. How about dessert? What are you going to give him for a dessert? How about a nice piece of cake? I know he loves cake.
Perfect. He loves it. Thank you, Sam. Good night. And now, I told myself that I'm going to hurry back home, returning to my husband who was waiting for his supper. I had to cook it well and make it taste as good as possible because the poor man was tired. If I found anything unusual or terrible when I got home, it would be a shock and I would have to react with grief and horror. Of course, I'm not expecting to find anything unusual at home. I'm just going home with vegetables on a Thursday evening to cook dinner for my husband. Patrick, how are you, darling?
Hello?
Quick, come quickly. Patrick is dead.
Who's speaking?
Mrs. Maloney, Mrs. Patrick Maloney.
Do you mean that Patrick's dead?
I think so. He's laying on the floor and I think he's dead.
We'll be there immediately.
Here we go.
Come on. There we go.
Is he dead?
I'm afraid he is. What happened?
Well, I went to the grocer and to get food for us for supper, and I came back and I found him on the floor.
There's some dried blood on his head.
Soon, other men began to arrive. A doctor, 2 detectives, a police photographer, and a man who knew about fingerprints. They asked me a lot of questions. They always treated me kindly. I put some meat in the oven. It's there now. And I'd gone to the grocer for vegetables, and I came back and I found him lying on the floor. The 2 detectives were exceptionally nice. They searched the house, and Jack Newman spoke to me gently. Your husband was killed by a blow to the back of the head. We're looking for a weapon. The murderer might have taken it with him, but he might have thrown it away or hidden it. It's the old story. Get the weapon, and you've got the man. Do you know anything in the house that could be used as a weapon? Could you look around and see if anything's missing? I don't think so. The search went on. It began to get late. It was nearly 9 o'clock. They were searching the rooms, and they were getting tired. Jack, would you like a drink? You must be extremely tired.
Well, it's not allowed by police rules, but since you're a friend...
They stood around with drinks in their hands. They were uncomfortable with me, but they tried to say cheering things to me. We'll figure it out.
Look, Mrs. Maloney, did you know that your oven is still on and the meat is still inside?
Oh, so it is. I'd better turn it off. Would you do me a favor? Here you are, all good friends of Patrick's, and you're helping to catch the men who killed him. You must be very hungry by now, because it's long past your supper time. And I know that Patrick would never forgive me if I let you stay in the house without offering you anything to eat. Why don't you eat up the lamb in the oven?
Wouldn't dream of it.
Please. Personally, I couldn't eat a thing, but it'd be a favor to me if you ate it up. Then you can go on with your work.
Okay. Have some more, Charlie. No, we better not finish it. She wants us to finish it, so we ought to eat it up. That's a big bar the murderer must have used to hit poor Patrick. The doctor says the back of his head was broken to pieces. That's why the weapon should be easy to find. Exactly what I say. Whoever did it, he can't carry a weapon that big around with him. Personally, I think the weapon is somewhere near the house. It's probably right under our noses. What do you think, Jack?